I'd like to welcome those of you who are new listeners, as well as all of you who have supported these sessions. My name is Marc Blatstein, and I'm the physician who created Physician Pre-Sentence Report Service. For most of your clients and their families, this is a journey that no one would have ever chosen. And while most of the legal work is done, each client is dealing with the idea of prison and the unknown in their own way. If I was to ask each of you, if you have clients that have self-surrendered, do you know if the process went smoothly? And ever the mention of a single cell, solitary confinement, or the SHU? I'm asking this because it is possible, no matter how slim, that the court's orders have not been received before your client has gotten to the prison if they self-surrendered, meaning that the J&C or judgment and commitment order, the pre-sentence report, the U.S. Marshals documentation, and without the correction staff cannot let that defendant into general population after they've been screened. And while policy says that they cannot be confined in a single cell for more than 23 hours a day, to be honest, being confined in a single cell for 30 minutes or more is horrible. And so for a first timer who doesn't have a history of claustrophobia, they may become claustrophobic now. And it's a horrifying experience. So despite the BOP, Bureau of Prison policy, and staff shortages, they may be in the secure cell for a longer period of time than policy may dictate. So it's their first day in the unknown. And while they thought they were self-surrendering to a camp, what they thought happened did not. But the legal team could have connected with the facility's inmate systems management department or their record office and found out if the defendant's intake orders were received. There are two other reasons that could have landed the defendant in a secure single cell. First, the second being either for the safety of the inmate or the inmate's health. For example, during 2020, there's been COVID or contagious diseases. Next is bed space availability. But this, during the pre-sentence interview towards the pre-sentence report phase, if this was learned ahead of time, possibly the defendant could have been given a heads up or another place could have been chosen. I'm not sure. Next, whether self-surrendering or not, or whether the defendant was brought in by the U.S. Marshals, share the process with the family and with your client. So they're received by the receiving and discharge. They're greeted by correctional staff, and they already now have the J&C order, hopefully the pre-sentence report, and the U.S. Marshals documentation. They will strip search the defendant. They will issue them prison clothing. They'll be photographed and fingerprinted. The clothes they arrived with, along with other items possibly, will be boxed up and mailed back to the legal residence that they have on. If it's after working hours, then quite possibly they will be put into a secure cell overnight. And I'm not sure if that will be a single cell or with other people, if they came in on a bus. That part I do not know. And again, it could be isolation or not. In the policy, if it is isolation, it can't be over 23 hours a day. Next, to meet with, after they've gone through the screening process, correction staff for a brief interview. And next, they will meet with medical for a brief screening. And at this point, Here's where they have the chance. If there's a medical issue, here they will have to bring it up with medical to review these issues so they get it on the record. Lastly, as your client gets released into general population, whatever personal information they have should be kept personal. If they have issues or concerns while they're there, staff, wardens, and assistant wardens are available at the dining halls throughout all meals so that if they're comfortable, they can speak with them at this time. But ultimately, this is prison, so unfortunately, the idea is to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Staff are overworked. There are going to be some staff that are just nice all the time. And there are going to be others that are not nice, and so they're going to consider you just another person. The Bureau of Prisons is essentially their own planet or universe, and so as defendants are now inmates, we have to get along and let them, let your clients know that whatever they do, they need to just get along under the radar, not creating any problems. There are lots of forms they'll be given, and so it's important to understand the rules of the road and understand what's involved with telephone and how to, use it. Understand that there'll be a tablet that they may be getting. It should be end of 2022, early 2023. There's email policy as well as visiting policy for friends and family. They'll also be receiving an admission and orientation handbook, and it's important that they read and understand it because all the rules of the prison will be available there. And again, all personal information should stay personal. I hope you found this helpful. Attorneys, I know you know the law. Should you have a client or a question, consults are on me. This is a shorter version of my 50-minute PowerPoint. If you're interested, you can send me an email and I can email you a PDF link to my full PowerPoint for your review. Hope you have a good day and thank you for listening.